Welcome to StarWatch Now, your front row seat to all the hottest gossip, drama, and breaking news from the world of entertainment. If it's trending, shocking, or star-studded, we're covering it. Stay tuned. You won't want to miss what's coming next. When the world fell silent for Yu Menglong, one voice broke through the grief, soft, trembling, but powerful enough to unite millions. It wasn't a government statement, nor a press release. It was Jungkook, standing not as a superstar, but as a human being who felt the pain of another. In that moment, every boundary between K-pop and C-entertainment disappeared, and the world remembered what it means to care. September 11th, 2025. A date now etched into the collective memory of millions. On that quiet evening in Beijing, the world lost Yu Menglong, an actor and singer whose presence had long been defined not by noise or controversy, but by a calm, luminous grace. He was only 37. Official reports would later describe a fall from his apartment after drinking, insisting there was no sign of foul play. Yet for those who had followed his journey, that sterile explanation could not contain the weight of what was lost. Yu Menglong had never been the loudest among stars. He did not chase headlines or orchestrate scandals. Instead, his gift lay in subtlety, in the way he could make a moment breathe on screen, the way his eyes seemed to carry stories that words could not. From his breakout in Go Princess Go to his soulful performance in Eternal Love, he built a career on sincerity. Behind the camera, he was known as humble, gentle, often the one who stayed behind to thank every member of the crew. To his fans, he was more than a performer. He was a quiet reassurance in a world obsessed with spectacle. When news of his death broke, the internet became an echo chamber of disbelief. Timelines filled with candle emojis, fragments of dialogue from his dramas, and trembling words from fans who could not accept that such light could vanish so suddenly. It was not only grief. It was a sense of collective numbness, as if the world had momentarily forgotten how to breathe. People from China to Korea, from Thailand to France, wrote the same sentence in different languages. This cannot be true. In that wave of sorrow, there was also reflection about how fragile the lives behind fame truly are, how easily brilliance can be swallowed by silence. Yu Menglong's passing was not just the end of a career. It was the shattering of an illusion that fame protects, that goodness guarantees safety. His absence created a hollow space that words could not fill, and yet within that void, millions found themselves united by the same emotion: love. It was the night that changed everything, when the lights of entertainment dimmed, and the world remembered that behind every smile on screen beats a human heart. When Jungkook appeared on a quiet live stream, there was no stage, no dazzling choreography, no audience screaming his name. Only a young man sitting beneath the weight of a world suddenly muted by loss. His eyes carried exhaustion, yet behind them lingered something deeply human, the impulse to comfort, to connect. When he finally spoke, his voice was soft, trembling slightly, as though every word had to pass through his own heart before reaching the world. "I just heard the news about actor Yu Menglong," he said. "His passing is shocking and heartbreaking. I want to send my deepest condolences to his family, his friends, and to the fans who loved him. Let's take care of each other. We never know what someone might be going through." They were simple words, unpolished, unrehearsed, but they rippled across borders like the first breath after silence. Within minutes, his short message was translated into dozens of languages. On Weibo, fans from China wrote that Jungkook's voice made us feel seen. In Korea and Japan, fans shared the clip, calling it a reminder that even the brightest stars still understand pain. Across Southeast Asia, Europe, and America, the sentiment echoed, "This is why we love him, because he feels, because he cares." In an era defined by division, Jungkook's few sentences built a bridge strong enough to carry millions across grief. It was not just about celebrity empathy. It was about authenticity. In an industry often polished to perfection, his vulnerability felt sacred. There was no management script, no rehearsed PR tone, just a man who recognized another man's humanity. The sincerity in his voice reminded people that compassion does not need translation. It does not require culture, language, or fame. It simply requires heart. For a fleeting moment, Kpop and Cpop stood side by side, united not by competition but by compassion. Fans who had never spoken to each other before began exchanging messages of comfort. Hashtags turned into prayers, and social media, so often a battlefield of opinions, became, for one night, a place of healing. Jungkook's voice carried across nations like a melody without borders, soft yet unbreakable. And in the quiet that followed, the world realized something profound. When words are spoken with genuine empathy, they do not belong to one person. They belong to everyone who needs them. What began as a quiet message from Jungkook soon transformed into a global movement of emotion and reflection. His words, delicate yet powerful, traveled faster than any song could. They crossed borders, languages, and time zones, finding their way into the hearts of millions who had never known Yu Menglong personally, but now felt the depth of his absence. The media called it the ripple of empathy, a rare moment when the entertainment world shed its glamour and remembered its humanity. Across platforms, fans began sharing memories, editing tribute videos, and writing letters that read more like prayers than posts. Some recalled Yu Menglong's gentle performances. Others simply thanked him for the warmth he left behind. Hashtags that once carried anger and confusion turned into expressions of grace. The energy had shifted from grief to connection. Jungkook's simple act of compassion had set something profound in motion, a collective awakening to how fragile and precious empathy truly is. Commentators spoke of it as a bridge between two cultures long seen as rivals. Yet in truth, it was more intimate than politics or fandoms. It was one heart recognizing another. Artists from both China and Korea began to post subtle tributes, not for publicity, but as quiet affirmations that loss is universal. Even those who had never followed Yu Menglong's career found themselves reflecting on someone they barely knew, moved by the sincerity of the reaction his passing evoked. For many, this wave of empathy became a mirror, forcing them to look inward and question how easily the world forgets kindness in its chase for perfection. Jungkook's words reminded people that compassion is not a weakness, nor is grief something to be hidden. Together, they rewrote what it means to mourn in the digital age, not as fragmented individuals scrolling past tragedy, but as a global community capable of feeling together. In the weeks that followed, the ripple continued. Donations were made to mental health charities in Yu Menglong's name. Fans from different countries organized online vigils. For once, the internet didn't divide, it healed. From a moment of heartbreak, something luminous emerged. The understanding that even in death, art and empathy can join hands, and that one genuine voice can transform despair into unity. Perhaps this is what Yu Menglong left behind, a legacy that reminds us of tenderness. He once said in an interview, "Acting is not about pretending, it's about feeling truthfully." And maybe that's why Jungkook's tribute felt so fitting. It wasn't rehearsed. It was real. Through loss, we rediscovered love. Through silence, we heard sincerity. Both artists, one gone, one still here, showed us the same truth, that behind the spotlight, they are simply people trying to find peace in a noisy world. And as Jungkook's trembling words continue to echo online, the message remains timeless, that empathy is not weakness. It's our greatest strength. Yu Menglong's light didn't fade. It transformed, carried by the voices of those who still remember him, by a song that will never end, and by one young man's courage to speak from the heart. So if this story touched you today, take a moment to tell someone you care about them, because love, when shared, can turn even grief into grace. Thank you for watching StarWatch Now. If you believe that compassion can cross borders, subscribe and join us for more stories that touch the heart and celebrate humanity behind fame. Your voice matters, and your kindness could be the light someone needs today.